Hello, I'm XQUEENo. Welcome to my astrology channel. I make blogs and videos on astrology transits, placements, aspects, and other special and nuanced topics. So visit my blog and subscribe to my astrology channel to get astrology updates and also to learn about astrology if you're interested in it. I also hope the background noises are not as distracting as they are to me. I'm really sorry about that. I live in a noisy neighborhood. So, with that said, let's dive right in. This is about the very first transit of April 2024, which is Mercury Retrograde in Aries, which will be happening on the 1st of April. And this one will be quite a triggering one since Mercury doesn't always behave well in Aries, but there are a lot of other things making a huge difference about this Mercury retrograde in particular. We have a total solar eclipse that is coming on the 8th, which will be in Aries, which won't be conjunct Mercury per se, but it will be conjunct Chiron, who is in turn conjunct Mercury. By that time, Mercury will be retrograde, and this in itself is going to be an important point in our healing journey, vocalizing everything that we have been through to ourselves is going to be extremely important because I know tempers will be rising to sky high. Honestly, I have no idea how things can turn out globally because Aries is also conjunct Mercury at that time, and Aries is in turn conjunct Chiron as well. So, collectively, this can go either way. But on a personal level, I think the best we can do with this Mercury retrograde transit is to sit with ourselves and speak about our own experiences for the last, let's say, 10 years when it comes to North Node transit, and how this has changed us, how our pain has changed who we are, and how our pain has brought us back to ourselves, essentially, and how we have been able to rediscover who we are through the maybe trauma and other identity related uh, wounds that we have experienced, probably from our childhood, but most certainly and recently from the last 10 years. So, this will be an important transit when it comes to us starting a whole new cycle in our life, when it comes to our identity, our self identity, and in turn our professional identity. So, Mercury retrograde in Aries is going to be extremely important when it comes to us stepping into our own power as individuals, as sovereign individuals with our own idea of who we are and what we want to do in our lives, and what our goals are, what drives our passions. And this will be a turning point in our life with the solar eclipse coming in, and Mercury has already conjunct North Node and Chiron in March, and that point in time where we had a huge epiphanies about who we are and how our wound itself has been driving us all this time. Essentially, that part of us that was wounded to its core, where we lost our individuality, and how we are regaining it back now through the solar eclipse. And this Mercury retrograde will highlight those wounds that we have started healing, by the way. So this, I think it will give us a little bit of a scare, so to speak, but that scare is kind of healthy. So it might actually be hard to handle that kind of scare because it will be sort of an identity crisis which the solar eclipse will highlight. But this Mercury retrograde will vocalize it, in everything we do, everything we say, and every way we show up in our own life. Mercury will vocalize it through our actions. This transit of Mercury retrograde is going to be monumental. It will start something really intense and leave it in the hands of the solar eclipse that will happen in Aries, and the rest will be a continuation of that momentum moving forward for the next 10 years, 12 years. This will be a turning point in all of our lives. This solar eclipse is going to reset our entire life, so to speak. But Mercury retrograde is doing something more, and adding essence to the solar eclipse and its effects. So the solar eclipse itself is going to be a major breakthrough in our healing and in us starting a whole new journey of our life. And Mercury retrograde is going to slow it down a little bit, which is, I think, to be frank, it is going to be Mercury retrograde's effect will be a good thing, because North Node in Aries is breaking us free from the Chiron's wounds, right? The wounds of us, of who we are. And Aries is ruled by Mars, and for the past decade or so, we have been in a holding pattern somehow, even though we have been taking decisive action and things like that. But there has been a part of us that has been so wounded to the point where we have been stuck in that healing process, and our inner masculine has been at the forefront of healing. And we have literally been, functioning out of our own inner masculine wound, and our actions have been mainly focused on that so far. And now this North Node conjunct Chiron that happened in March, early March, it broke us out of that healing trap that we have been in. And now we can actually see the progress, that we can actually see the results of the healing that we have been going through. And I know it's not easy to recognize the healing that we have been doing on ourselves, but yes, we have been doing that in actuality for the last decade or so, uh, right after the last South Node transit in Aries. So yes, there has been quite a lot of improvement that we have done, but it is really not that apparent. It hasn't been apparent so far, but it will be from now on. And I think we have been able to point that out since March, especially since March, when that North Node conjunct Chiron happened. Coming to the actual Mercury retrograde in Aries, and how that affects us for the next month, for the entirety of April. Of course, it's going to slow things down considerably, but it will also increase our irritability, which with Mars conjunct Saturn that is happening in Pisces, it is going to aggravate the living, the living hell out of us. And this will be especially true for the cardinal signs who are extremely impacted by this Mercury retrograde, along with the solar eclipse that is going to happen in Aries. And cardinal signs are all about momentum, and this slowing down is happening for many different reasons. It's not, this Mercury retrograde is not a normal one, since it has this conjunction with Chiron. It is going to trigger a lot of our impatience, and our irritability is going to be extremely high. This not conjunct Chiron, it broke us out of that healing trap, but it also made us realize that we have been stuck for quite a long time, a significant amount of time, even if visually or even practically we have been making a lot of progress for the last decade. uh, Not discounting that, but still, not to the extent where we might have, if it wasn't for Chiron's transit in Aries. And Chiron's transit in Aries is healing us through our own inner wounds that, quite frankly, Chiron in Aries and first house is such a challenging transit, such a challenging placement in itself. And that process also built up a lot of resentment within ourselves, right? Whenever you stop an unstoppable force like Mars, and you can't expect to just, release the cage and the ram won't, take its revenge or something. And I mean, come on, that is what Aries and Mars are all about, especially when their freedom is restricted, and they feel oppressed or not being able to release all that Martian energy. That is how explosive repressed Mars and Aries energy can be. And Chiron's transit through Aries has kind of brought up those wounds, even put us through situations that were like that, where we were oppressed, or we had to repress who we are for whatever reason. And that comes up with the lunar eclipse that is happening in Libra. These things that make us who we are make us want to experience life as our authentic self. These are the essential parts of who we are that has been kind of held back, chained up even. And now that this North conjunct Chiron has released us from that holding pattern, all that pent up energy will need a release. And Mercury retrograde in Aries is going to slow things down significantly. So this repressed energy wants an outlet. Otherwise, it is volcanic. It is already volcanic almost. I mean, it's Mars energy. And now Mercury retrograde in Aries is going to slow things significantly, and that will be quite a challenge for us to deal with. It will be quite tempting for us to just go, avenge that past self of ours, and that previous self of ours, and give it the justice that it deserves. But the challenge is to move forward regardless. I mean, in many ways, most of us have been in, especially since again 2020, we have been in this process of something got held back, so much so in our life, so much so that we just didn't know what we could do about it. We didn't know, we couldn't bring that momentum back even within ourselves. We, in many ways, we have been operating out of survival mode. Regardless of our financial situations, it has been a primal instinct. Mars, Aries, Pluto and Scorpio, they all represent survival in their essence, and in a way in their shadow side, survival. So we have been in that survival mode for almost a decade or so, and that tension has been building up. And now we have to regulate ourselves and make sure that we are not falling into the trap of overcompensating for the time we have lost. I mean, it is, again, like I said, it is a common, feeling to have that, that we might have lost some time to healing, or, to certain situations or relationships, or, whatever circumstance we have been in. That extra realization that this lunar eclipse in Libra brought us, and the solar eclipse in Aries is going to do the same thing in April on the 8th. So that temptation and that urge to go avenge ourselves, or to get back the time that we lost, it's not going to help us so much in this process of moving forward. We have to focus on what is ahead of us. We are in a whole new stage of our life, and that we will be able to move forward in this healing process successfully. And now all we can do is to focus on what's ahead of us. And the solar eclipse will challenge us to do exactly that. Mercury retrograde in Aries, again, it's going to be a lot of temper, a lot of anger management. Cardinal signs have to be careful when it comes to, I mean, in a way, it is a sort of a release. We haven't been able to perform at our best when it comes to our productivity, our profession, especially our careers. And if you are in that stage of your life where you wish to pursue your career, like you haven't been able to for the last 5 years or maybe even a decade, if you are being called to move into a place of more productivity, and you're focusing more on your stability, financially, and also your public image and status and things like that, it will be a beautiful time to do that. But then again, there will be an urge to just shoot forward now, I mean, especially with, okay, Saturn conjunct Mars is going to make us temper ourselves even more. That will be another challenge, to be frank. But Jupiter conjunct Uranus will be a whole another, kind of forward momentum that we have been waiting for. And in a way, April is such a dichotomy of, let's get moving, finally let's get moving, things are starting to just move. And then again, let's slow down. This is a whole new chapter in our life. We don't know what is going to be ahead of us, uncharted territories, challenge that we will be dealing through at least for the next 2 years. This solar eclipse will affect us for the next 2 years, almost. Mercury retrograde now will slow us down and irritate us to no ends, but it will also give us the necessary insight, to plan our future more methodically, which again is supported by Saturn's conjunction to Mars in Pisces of all signs. Wow. And I say it in the most positive way, really. But you know, that is such a frustrating combination of transits to go through, all in Aries season, right? What a season to pick. So, a lot of realizations, a lot of self realizations. There will be epiphany moments, illuminating moments, enlightening moments. This solar eclipse will bring many wonderful things for us, many wonderful rewards, since it's happening in North Node of Aries. And this Mercury retrograde will bring up many, many, many wounds with regards to ourself, our previous version, and things that we have been through, how we could have overcome certain issues in the past, maybe a little more tactically, maybe with a little more patience, a little more courage, right? These are our own life decisions, and we'll have to face the decisions that we have made in the past, so that moving forward, we will be able to make better decisions, keeping our pride and our individuality, with a whole new cycle beginning when it comes to the North Node transits. This will be extremely important. So, Mercury, Mercury retrograde in Aries is going to help us reevaluate every way that we want to, take action, that we take pride in what we do and who we are and things like that. And this will be a perfect time to do that. Be extremely careful with what you say and who you say it to this time. Everybody is will be on the edge. Everybody will be on the edge. Everybody's tempers will be rising, and it is best not to get into any conflicts at this time. It is best not to. Aries, the dwarf planet Aries, who is mythologically considered to be the sister of Aries. She is in Aries right now, conjunct Mercury. We will say things that are cutthroat. We will be tempted to say them, and in a way, we'll be provoked to say them. You know, everybody's ego is, emerging out of the shadows, and I hope it is in a good way. But most of us have done the healing, and there are those who haven't, and we have to be considerate about them, and make sure that we put them in the equation as well, since our healed perception and perspective on life is completely different than theirs, right? And in a way, even if we don't want to be empathetic towards certain people, it is, in our best interest not to dive into conflicts just because they provoke us to. And that will be a major challenge with this Mercury retrograde in Aries. It will be a test of our own healing, with regards to our own healing. And we will have to face um, the same kinds of issues that we have been through for quite some time now. Pluto will move back into Capricorn, and then, leave Capricorn one last time, for the next 200 years, and then move into Aquarius in November of this year. And until then, a lot of things from the past will keep resurfacing in a more intense way, and as intensely as possible, if anything. So these are not new issues to us, whatever we are going to be dealing with right now, especially when it comes to ego and past struggles. We will have to deal with them with as much maturity as we can. Mars is conjunct Saturn in Pisces, and that will help us, make mature decisions. And that will also kind of remind us not to make decisions based on our emotions. Reactivity will have to be less, and reasoning will have to be more in anything that we are going to face from now on. And that is a healthy balance of, our mind and our heart, and reactivity and being responsive and being reactive are two completely different things. And this is what I believe that we have been learning for the last decade or so, especially with Pluto's transit in Capricorn. In a collective way, this is what we have learned. And this month will be a big test of that. It won't be easy, so there's no need to be hard on ourselves either. So this Mercury retrograde will drag us back to that period in time we felt held back, and now slowly it will release all this repressed anger or energy of Mars and Aries. And that will be our responsibility to direct all that energy in a more productive way. Yeah, it is important not to get into any conflicts, and it is also important not to hold yourself to such a place of high accountability where you're blaming yourself for literally everything that has happened. I think that is the opposite of what these transits are asking us to do. And there will be temptations, of course. We are reevaluating a huge part of our life so far, and that will be quite tempting to just blame ourselves or blame others and point fingers at each other. And collectively, this will be going on for quite a while now. Like I said, at least till the end of this year, we'll be pointing fingers at each other. At least we'll be tempted to. Because, like I said, there are those of us who have healed our egos, and in the process of healing our ego, and in a healthy way, we are reintroducing ourselves to ourselves and our healed ego. But there are also those people who haven't done that work, and they might pose a risk to what progress we have made in our own healing journey, and they won't completely stop us. They won't completely stop us per se, but it'll be like walking 10 steps forward and 5 steps backwards, if we engage in conflicts with people like that. So be aware of those around you. You know them well, and especially if you know them well, right? If they're family or friends, or even your spouse, partner, romantic interests, Aries Libra axis, of course we'll have to be extra careful about who we are giving our energy and how we are giving it, how we are directing it. Is it through anger, or is it through passion? Is it through harmony? Again, we are healing South Node in Libra right now as well. Are we being harmonious in our relationships? Are we not? Is this, even if we have to face certain conflicts, is this leading us to more healing and balance and harmony, or is it leading us more to conflict and ego battle struggles and power struggles? Where is our energy being focused on, and where are others directing our actions right now? Are they provoking us to resolve a conflict, or to re re-invoke a conflict? These are things that we'll have to be discerning about, which again Saturn conjunct Mars in Pisces will help us do that. But Mercury retrograde will play an instrumental role in us being extra careful with how we are spending our passions and our drive right now. It is hence extremely important that we make plans for the future and not focus on our past. I mean, issues to be resolved from the past, healing to be done, definitely. But when it comes to looking forward, I think our intentions should be focused on our future, and a little bit of self accountability for the things that we have done, and maybe even holding other people accountable, because this is how we set boundaries, right? South Node in Libra has been teaching us how to set healthy boundaries without compromising who we are, and this is how we set healthy boundaries. So this Mercury retrograde will allow us that time to just sit with ourselves, plan our future. It doesn't have to be anything grand, or it doesn't have to be anything perfect. The next few years, things won't be so predictable. Especially with Pluto in Aquarius, things won't be that predictable. So making plans is not completely a waste, but having a vision, having intentions, bringing back your dreams, the dreams that used to drive you forward, in the past. Maybe even projects that you kind of forgot, in the past few years, or for certain circumstances that you had to deal with. You can revive them, in this period of time, and you can bring them back to the forefront, and make solid plans right now. Mercury will help us do that. Patience will be a big deal, of course. With Aries, patience is a big deal, but we will have an ample amount of it, to be frank. We will have an ample amount of it. Surprisingly so, but we have been through quite a long, journey when it comes to being patient and going through things that really tested our character in many ways, and there is a level of maturity that we have attained. Um, so yeah, patience won't be that big of a deal, but still, dealing with others will bring up those issues, and we might feel a little bit ashamed of the way we have, handled things before, but leaving those feelings of shame or guilt, remorse, guilt, things like that, as long as you have healed and you have overcome those shortcomings, so to speak, bluntly speaking, or you have overcome those insecurities of yours and fears of yours. As long as you have done that, that's okay, I suppose. We all are in a place where we have to start a new journey right now, and part of that new journey is self redemption. Again, as long as we are being honest with ourselves and not just doing it out of grandiosity or self righteousness. So yeah, Mercury retrograde in Aries. I know in this video I kind of went on a tangent, but I had to include certain transits that we are going through and we will be going through in April. Without that, Mercury retrograde, the story of Mercury retrograde will be kind of incomplete. And yeah, this will be an important Mercury retrograde. So hopefully it will be a productive one for us. Even if we have to slow things down for now, and we can start new things around Mercury retrogrades, but it is usually not recommended. So if you feel called to, please do it. But if you're still in the planning stages, feel free to take this time and make more solid plans, add more foundation to the plans. We'll have all the energy to do that, frankly. And I think we are coming out of a deep slumber. We have to recalibrate ourselves in a way before we move into this new chapter of our life. So hopefully this will be a great beginning for all of us. Certainly for the collective, it will be an extremely positive turn of events. April is the most important month of 2024 when it comes to astrology transits. Really big hitters, really, really big hitters. Jupiter, Uranus, Saturn, Mars, North Node, Chiron. This will be a wonderful start for all of us as a collective. I don't know how smooth the ride will be, but it will be for the higher good of all of us. It certainly will be. And so, with that said, let's wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. And if you found this video to be insightful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your support. See you in the next video. As always, many hugs and much love. Bye.